You can now make online payments to Jaffna Divisional Secretariat via GovPay.
President Dissanayake on the 13th of June, the final day of his state visit to Germany, met with members of the Sri Lankan community residing in the country. A large number of Sri Lankan professionals, entrepreneurs and investors participated in the event, which was organised by Sri Lankans living in Germany. President Dissanayake was warmly received by the attendees upon his arrival at the event.
What were people's expectations when they voted for an NPP government? They expected the economy would be strengthened, governance would be free of fraud and corruption, fraudsters and the corrupt would be punished, the rule of law would apply to everyone equally, and national unity will be created instead of being a divided nation. We have agreed to commence debt repayment by 2028. Therefore, we have 3 years to build an economy capable of repaying debt. In 2022, we became the country with the lowest government revenue in the world. Government revenue fell to about 7% of GDP back then. We have accepted the challenge of increasing state revenue to 15.1% of GDP this year. However, we have realized that the VAT is too high. In order to do so, our tax net should be broadened. There are severe leakages in the tax system. We integrate digitization as much as possible to ensure taxes are collected properly. We plan to gradually phase out printed notes and adopt digital transactions, which will help establish a transparent tax system. We have a weak, inactive public service, which we are working to restore and rebuild. The police department is an important entity tasked with imposing the law and protecting the peace. However, police officers are testifying before the committee investigating former IGP Deshabandhu Tennakon that they were ordered to open fire at specific locations. Is this how a police force operates? These are actions of organized criminal gangs. We have a police department which openly planned criminal activities. Because of that, for the first time in Sri Lankan history, the IGP had to hide from the police. However, if it were not for the NPP government, he would still be the Inspector General. The people of this country thirst for justice. Investigations against Keheliya Ramukwella and Mervyn Silva are nearing completion and they will soon be indicted. Namal Rajapaksa was indicted over the Krish deal. Yoshida Rajapaksa was also indicted. Since his grandmother was also involved, indictments will be filed against her as well. We must pay attention to the question of national unity. If anyone plans to conduct politics by reigniting racism, and if existing legislation is not sufficient to stop them from doing so, we will enact new laws to quash racism. When a progressive political and economic program is being implemented, opposition factions are putting aside their animosities to form alliances. The SJB, UNP and SLPP are all rallying behind one banner. These alliances are being formed to downplay their past corrupt and fraudulent actions and crimes. An alliance between Sajid Premadasa and Namal Rajapaksa is politically disadvantageous to both. However, they know that even though it is politically detrimental in the long term, they must unite against the NPP government now to ensure their survival in this particular moment. However, whatever they do, we, in accordance with our mandate, will not let any investigation against criminals and the corrupt be stopped. We will definitely fulfill the expectations the people have placed in us.
President Dissanayake and the Sri Lankan delegation arrived in Sri Lanka earlier this morning after successfully concluding the official visit to Germany.